Hey Dad, the grill you made was awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, I learned it from your grandfather. And also your mother fell in love with me because of it. Yeah, you told me that story before. Dad, I have a question for you. My mom, was she always your only love? I mean, the only woman you have loved? Well, not exactly. Of course, I love your mother, but when I was a child, I had an impossible love, if we can call it that way. What do you mean? Were you in love with another woman before you met my mom? Yes, but it was a long time before I met your mother. 10 years before. Interesting. I want to know the story. Please, tell me. Are you sure? Okay. But don't tell your mother about it. Because now that I remember, I never told your mother about that girl. I promise I won't say anything to her. But please, tell me the story. It was long time ago. I was only 14 years old. I lived with my parents and my siblings, your uncles and your aunt. You know them very well. We used to live in an old house near a mountain. We always played together. We had fun playing in our backyard. We could play there for hours until my father came home from work. We were four siblings, so we could play many different things. Like most people, we had neighbors next door to our house. We also used to play with them. There were many siblings, but only two of them were children. Their names were Bruno and Nicole. They lived next to us. We also played with them. In fact, the yards of our houses were connected because, my parents were poor and they didn't have enough money to build that part of the house. Fortunately, our neighbors were in the same situation as us. It was good because we could play together that way. So they, Bruno and Nicole, went to our home every afternoon after school to play. Bruno was a nice boy. He was polite and a little shy too. He was younger than Nicole, so he played with my younger brother and me. Nicole, on the other hand, was older and she used to play with my sister. And sometimes we played together, boys and girl, together. Everything was fine. I mean, we had fun, we played together, everything was so normal. I was a child. I didn't like girls. Not yet. I didn't even think about that. So I just played with my neighbors, and that was all. But one day that changed. My brothers and my sister had gone to visit my grandmother. They went with my father. I stayed home because I felt a little sick. I had the flu, so I couldn't go with them. Instead, I stayed home with my mom. She was taking care of me. I was so bored that day. I didn't know what to do. So I decided to walk around the house. I was walking around the kitchen, the living room, the bedrooms, looking for something to play with, but nothing. I was very bored. So I went to the yard to call my neighbors. I called them, but nobody answered. I knew they were busy because when they are busy, they never answer. Obviously, because they can't play or because her mother had punished them. So I resigned. But when I was going back to my bed, I heard a noise. It was a girl singing. She was singing beautifully, and it was a song I really loved. I was wondering who it was. I didn't have any idea. I thought it was one of my neighbor's cousins, so I went to take a look. Remember, we could see each other across our yards. And then I saw her. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was looking at the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my whole life. Seriously, I was shocked. She was wearing a nice blouse and blue pants. She had the most beautiful eyes in the world. Her hair was straight and black. She was slim and her skin seemed to be perfect. And she was there, right in front of my eyes, singing one of my favorite songs with the most beautiful voice. You're wondering, who was she? Well, it was Nicole, my neighbor. She was the one singing that song. I didn't know why, but I had never seen her like that before. She was beautiful. She was perfect. I fell in love right away. I stood there looking at her for about 30 minutes. She didn't notice my presence because she was washing clothes by hand. Then she looked at me and I ran to my house again. My heart was beating so fast, it scared me, and for a moment I forgot I was sick. Seriously, I started feeling nervous, anxious, excited, happy. I don't know, so many feelings at the same time. The next day, my siblings and I were there in the yard, ready to play, and my neighbors came as always, but I was no longer the same. I couldn't look at Nicole the same way anymore. I was in love with her. And I suppose everyone noticed that. I mean, that I was different. They asked me, "What happened? Are you still sick?" "No, I'm okay," I said. But I was not okay. I was dying of love. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't tell her I loved her. Of course not. At least, not directly. So I decided to write a letter. A love letter. My first love letter. I didn't know what to write. It was going to be the first time I wrote a love letter. So I just took a piece of paper and a pencil, and I did it. I don't know how, but I managed to write 5 pages. 5 pages. Can you believe it? I was so crazy. I wrote everything. The first time we had met, the times we played together, the time that I looked at her washing her clothes and singing. I described my feelings and everything I liked from her. Absolutely everything. I even wrote our plans for the future, or my plans for the future with her as my wife. I was crazy, no doubt. I was debating whether to send my letters or not, but in the end, I did. I just left it under her door. Her sisters took the letter and read the 5 pages. I was listening right behind the door. They started laughing. Happily, I didn't write my name on it, but I think they knew. They asked me, "Do you know who sent this letter to my sister?" "No, I have no idea," I said. We never talked about that again, and over time, I forgot about it. She was my first love, and she never knew it. Wow, that was a very interesting story. And what happened to her? Is she alive? I have no idea. I moved and I don't know about her anymore. Well, you should call her and then we will come back here to tell that story. Maybe. I'm curious. That could be another story. I hope you liked this story. If you could improve your English a little more, please subscribe to the channel and share this video with a friend. Thank you very much for your support. Take care.